So we're going to have it at Jones's.
Raise my con. Okay. Bang the gavel. I'm not sure about trustee Winslow
Kim's here.
and yeah, Kim's here. Linda is on her way, but we'll go ahead and get started.
Appreciate that.
Dr. Kroll, what would you like to start us off with?
First thing I want to ask you, we've got some dates and speaking opportunities for you coming up here.
Oh, boy.
Commencement on May 12th at 6 p.m. Typically, the board chair provides that welcome for us. Can we depend on you to do that again this year?
Commencement?
Uh-huh.
And what day is that?
It's the 12th. May 12th. This is Thursday, May 12th, but it's actually Friday, May 12th. I think it's Friday.
I think I have it on my calendar already, so.
What time is that? Graduation?
6 p.m.
Is
Yes,
this the big one?
This is the big one?
This is the
the
big-
big, this
big
is the big one. This is the big one.
yes. I can do
Okay.
that.
And I have it on my.
Okay, that's good. And we'll send reminders to all of these. So nurses pinning is the night before on Thursday. And that will be this year on the 11th, 7 p.m. And it's in the Performing Arts Center because the gym is torn up. And so Mary Martha, I think you did nurses pinning last year.
Yes.
I would open that up to anybody that would like to help with that.
You're saying that
And we will provide script for you if you need us to.
you're saying fine arts here on campus?
Performing Arts downtown, sorry,
Oh, okay.
7 p.m.
And
Civic
Jennifer
Center or the old middle school?
It's the old middle school,
Oh,
performing,
yeah.
the high school performing arts center. Yeah.
The old ones.
Yeah.
I can help.
Will, you want to do that, Dave?
I cannot this year.
What time is that? 6?
7 p.m.
But we need to be there.
Well, we'll get all those details. Listen, don't expect the minute details tonight, all right? I'm just giving you the overarching dates and times. Okay. Honor ceremony is Friday, May 12th. That's the afternoon right ahead of commencement. That's at 1:30. We're going to put that in the Clifford Stone Room this year. And actually, Dave, you did the welcome for that last year. So, and that typically lasts about an hour, I think. But that's where we recognize the honor students, purple of the gold and order of the gold and order of the purple. And then recognize the faculty who've been nominated by the students. And so that would be that starts at 1:30 in the Clifford Stone Room. So I would welcome anybody who'd
Honor,
like to.
and at the honor ceremony?
Yeah,
At 1:30?
yes.
I will not be able to make it.
Okay.
Shelby, why don't you do it?
I've done it before. I can do it again.
You want to do it? Okay, thanks.
See if I have
And that's on
my last speech or
Speech.
not.
that's
That's
on
May-
the 13th.
That's on Friday, the 12th in the early afternoon ahead of commencement. Jennifer will send all of you folks calendar invites, okay,
That's the last day.
of school.
Yeah.
And then May 6th, which is the weekend before, that's a Saturday, the Early College Academy graduation celebration at 10 a.m. is in the Clifford Stone Room, and we typically have one of you do a welcome for that as well. Is that all in our calendars? Not yet, but Jennifer will send all of that stuff to you. That'd be great.
10 a.m.
Yes, 10 a.m. That's a Saturday, May 6th.
I'd be happy to do the welcome, but if anybody else wants to do it, please go ahead.
We can put you down for it.
Okay.
Okay. Shelby says the same thing, but you do a good
I don't
job.
like it. I hate it.
Yeah.
I think that many people love it. And I try to let the kids know, even if we're up here talking to you, it doesn't mean we. enjoy
We'll
it.
send
He
it
did.
to you, and we'll send all the details to you too.
Good.
The other reminder for all of you is the PTK luncheon, April 14th in Junction City. We had RSVs, or Jennifer did, from everybody but Julie and Linda and Kim, and we need to know whether you're able to go because we have to turn reservations in. Actually, we need to email them tonight or tomorrow morning. So it's April 14th in Junction City. That's the PTK luncheon. Starts at 11:30, I think. Noon? Okay. So if you can go, let Jennifer know. If you don't know, then we'll probably put you down as a no, since we have to send in We have to pay for the meals whether you're there or not, so.
And you have to RSVP tomorrow,
First thing
Tonight.
tomorrow morning.
tonight? Okay. I'll put a reminder on my phone to check. I have no idea what's on my calendar.
Okay,
I
Do you know, Julie, if you can go?
I did.
I need my calendar out
I got
Okay.
two. I've got a little
okay,
one.
we'll check and see and let Jennifer know, okay?
by morning.
Yes, first thing in the morning. Heather
Once
Morgan's.
you get in at 6, probably it's probably more like 8:30.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my first in the morning.
That's what I have for these things. I think we will, you want to be first up? We have Kelly on the, well, a couple of things, just the things that are on, that we need to talk about tonight. Kelly's going to give you an overview of marketing. Bill Young has to talk to you about, IS and some computer replacement, things as part of the technology plan. And then we need to talk, I'll just, everybody else can go, we'll sit and visit for just a little bit about the Higher Learning Commission visit. And then that should be it. Yeah, do you have a microphone?
He's got her set up.
Awesome, thank you, thank you.
Hey, Matt's got a presentation with visuals. He did.
It's on.
It's on.
So, good evening. Okay, I'm excited to talk a little bit about the work shop and what we do.
Years ago, a lot of shop, and we still are. We're t-shirts and designs, posters or flyers, but that all really changed actually several years ago. We're also a strategic arm of the institution. And we're looking at data and trying to figure out where next to put the Butler brand as best as we can. We're about getting our name out there. And Matt, do you have, are you pulling that up? So as a newly created campus, I'm learning more.
Yay.
Okay, and so Jennifer, is Matt going to be little Matt's? Okay, if you could just go to the slide, yeah, just to highlight what our overall purpose of marketing is to grow brand awareness and lead generation, and of course, reputation among our target populations. And it's related to the educational and training opportunities that you can find here at Butler. And back in the day, again, we could do that about 3 times a year. You do a big fall push, do a big spring push, and then hit your summer. And that's not the way it works anymore. And really, our whole goal is to get people to get interested enough in what we do to apply, to fill out that application form. If at all, at least fill out a full inquiry form so that it becomes an alert for admissions and student services. All right. Then next, yeah, where we work our magic is at the top of that funnel, and then the outer skirts of those funnels, trying to get people to think more about us. We try to get them to pause and go, oh, Butler, huh? An interest to learn more, express and explore our website and get their questions answered that way. But all in all, we're about trying to grab eyes and move thumbs. It's such a digital world now. We're about impressions and interactions. And that is really what we are trying to track in our daily work. We try to get them to raise their hand and go and take the next step. And this is just a traditional higher ed funnel. And some people with experts or higher ed consultants nowadays would say sometimes it's even more of a circle instead of a funnel, because there's so much now on the web, they can go out and find themselves. So students will come, I'm sure, admissions and advising has said, students will come to them very, very informed and know exactly they've done the research, or they really still don't know much and haven't looked much on the web and want their questions answered. But really what we're about is that top of the funnel, and we're talking to, I've got it here, who we talk to, all ages, high schools, adults, but then also those characteristics within that population. So some high school kids come with credit already, so or adults, and they don't need a full-blown college degree. They have some college, or they just want reskilled, they want retrained. They've all got their different needs, but we're trying to reach all ages, military, international, university students, online students, We segment those out by age or geography, certainly down by Butler County, our service area, and the Wichita regional area. And then on certain messages, we'll even go statewide, and on certain things, we'll even bounce down into northern Oklahoma or western Missouri. It just kind of depends on the message and who we're trying to reach. Overarching campaigns, as I mentioned earlier, the big ones, we always kind of mention online. It's just kind of face-to-face or online, but we have our fall, spring, summer, and our short term. So we launch a fall. Fall gets started, that semester gets rolling a couple weeks or a week, and then boom, it's those short-term classes, and we'll run that up to a point toward the end of fall. Then we're flipping to spring. Spring classes begin after a week, we're flipping back to short term. And then of course our Summer Plus campaign has been really successful. And I'm always thrilled when we decide to do that again and offer that deal, because advising, we can see those ads and those form fills for Summer Plus getting filled pretty early, and advising will say that they even get questions about it. So then on top of that, those are just the big dogs. Then on top of that, we've got multiple campaigns running for programs, certain events that we're pushing for, the mobile enrollment or the campus events through admissions, and sometimes, in online campaigns, that sort of thing. So that's kind of the gist on the funnel stuff. Relationship marketing, that is our North Star, and that's really where my team is trying to dive deeper into. So you have 17 to 55, and you could blast messages out, but now we're really trying, through the data that we collect, understand more and more about them. So are they 42 with a child at home? Are they 22 with a child at home? What are their needs and what are some characteristics? We're really at the beginning stages of this. So with the system that we have now, we can go in and start making our short inquiry forms where if someone's interested, we can start following up with them with a second form and say, okay, now that you told me your name and your email, how about you tell me if where you graduated from high school, what term might you be thinking about, and do you have children living at home, or what's your, trying to figure out if they'll give us their graduation date, then we can decipher, right? But we're really trying to divide and segment our audience out to learn more about them so that we can then talk better to them. Relationship marketing is all a part of that, and it is authentic and it's personalized communication. They don't want sold to. We hear that in the readings and the articles all the time. If they think they're being marketed to, they're going to dive out like fish. And so we're trying to be very casual, like, hey, I'm one of the fish too. So you're gonna see that in which is why I've got this next TV spot up here. We're really trying to think and be very intentional about the images that we show and how we portray that back out. If you're familiar with other view books or with our older view book, you'll see very staged photos, and they were great and they were wonderful photos, but we're really trying actually to capture them in the moment. So Matt, if you'll go ahead and play this TV spot.
And I had a student in this very class.
Jay was drawing something up.
That's our new fall TV spot. And then as we roll into radio and into digital advertising, that's where we're going to get more specific on messaging as far as the starting date for classes. And there was something else I wanted to tell you about that TV spot. And maybe it'll hit me here in a minute, but authenticity, you can just tell the cameras were rolling. Oh, the other thing is, as we talk to students, they're like, we know you're academics. We know we're going to have to study. We want to know we can also have fun there. So that was kind of our inspiration for putting and getting some of those shots. Messaging that resonates, we're always reviewing this because our audience is always changing. A new high school class comes in every 4 years with a new set of attitudes and wants and desires. So, but these were some of the messages too that through our work with strategic enrollment management team that we thought resonated and were very important. And so it's real college, really affordable. That's what goes with that authenticity and just catching the real life experiences that our students are having here at Butler. Fully transferable, of course, we know that's a biggie. Lots of scholarships. We know through our institutional and our foundation scholarships that we can make a big impact there. The free stuff, the free Adobe software, very, very cool stuff. Free CTE courses, free apprenticeships, Kansas Promise scholarships, and then of course our $150 laptop program that puts technology into the hands of our students. So also key messages, home to $10 textbooks. And in visiting with Troy Nordman last week, I mean, we're getting more and more of those textbooks. And I think now they're really starting to be able to make an impact on messaging that we could really have some fun with, because they've got, for example, right off the bat, 3 gen eds that you can get a $10 textbook for. Now that starts to make a big difference to that individual student's pocket when we can say, and 3 classes for $30 on your textbooks. I think that becomes very powerful. We're always watching our graduation rates as they compare to other institutions. And also, Matt, if you'll scroll down a little bit, there's a few more goodies down there. Instructors who care, they go above and beyond oftentimes rather than just teaching their classes. And we know that is a huge selling point. And our students, really, when they're here, they experience that. But how can we take the faculty and make them real human beings to the prospect? So the prospect begins to understand who they're going to learn under and how they're willing to move boulders in some cases to help their students. At the Butler Foundation auction, I had an instructor explaining to me that she had helped a student do his taxes because he didn't know how to do that. And he had turned 18 and he was in the foster care system, and he had been turned away from his foster parents because they weren't getting paid for him anymore. So teachers are stepping in ways at Butler that we don't necessarily even think about and can't imagine. So very important what they do for us here. And now also just the quality of what the faculty and the students are accomplishing in the classroom is certainly a selling point. Our exceptional education and our experience, get a real college experience here with nationally known sports and student activities for a fraction of the university costs. So yay. The goals. Some of these, so this came from, and we won't be able to do all of these goals next year. This is really more of a 2 to 3 year timeline. We have several efforts to our strategic enrollment management plan for that committee. We've got several items in there that we're participating in or carrying or moving. We're to increase, of course, our brand awareness to the service area in the region. That's always a goal. Continue to grow the impressions and the interaction. Brand awareness. Continue to grow reach and impressions, yes, through the digital and the advertising and the web. Establish that relationship marketing and those strategies and those activities, and what is that really going to look like for us, and how are we going to do that, and so that student really knows we're talking to them and not one of 300 of them, because that's when they get irritated. Well, I have 2 sons, and if I text them both at the same time, they both get irritated. Mom, we don't want group text,
Yeah.
right? It's funny, but that is how they roll. Enhance our content strategy. So what a lot of colleges and advertising consultants will have us do, and we've done some of it, but we could do it to a greater depth, especially with the relationship marketing components, is writing out profiles of generalized profiles for these different students. So, and writing out a profile about Anna, who's who's 32 and wants to do this or that, and get a series of these profiles out. And we do have some really good ones that we had done and SEMT and we'd looked at with admissions and advising, but marketing hasn't really had the ability yet to take that to the next level. And so that is something we all know is important and that we want to move on. Improve our community relations, getting out more offices and connecting also internally with college-wide relationships inside Butler, but also out into across the county, and seeing how we can connect there with their different needs, whether it's sponsorships and events or how we can support them. So, okay, Matt. There's the look for real college, really affordable. This is one of our images too, and this is actual student, actual photo. I'm out on campus, and actually, I think this was taken by one of our student workers. And her photography has been fun to watch her grow and support us in this way. But next steps for us, so we look at those goals and some of the next things that we're going to want to do are lead qualification. When we do get those prospects in and we're building our data, well, our spreadsheets, our content information system that we use internally, how do we learn more about them to understand that we're really sending the quality leads to admissions that we need to be sending? And my joke is, I'm not sending you 15, 12-year-olds, am I? But it's not really a joke because I want to make sure I'm not sending 12-year-olds over to admissions. So that's going to be definitely next steps. The digital library through strategic enrollment management team. This was identified. We know if we create a digital library where people can get in and access printed materials more readily for their programs or for the college in general, and then they could easily print on demand and use those how they need it. The new website launch, definitely involved heavily with that. Our Butler County impact and our success stories, we're also really trying to connect with the students from Butler County and to showcase what those students do. We're inching up on our 100th anniversary, and we want to make sure that we've got some great content and success stories there from our student alums, but certainly from our home county of Butler. And then personalization. In March of 2020, we launched an email marketing automation system during COVID. And that little system, we're already beyond my original contract. So I have it, I can either spend more money and grow the contract so that we can talk to more people, or clean up the data and kind of do that first. So that's what we're doing. And this little system will also help us personalize that information, those emails back to those prospects. So they know that we really are learning about them and their interests. So we know personalization, that's been around, that's nothing new. But we know as a marketing team, we could probably be making a better and bigger impact in that direction. To get into now some of the data marks that we see. So we're talking and using marketing channels across the board. So from all of your traditional media, radio, TV, print ads, billboards, website behavior and tracking, the search engine optimization techniques we can apply, our email marketing, our digital ad networks like Google, or social media management, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok. We work with all of those. Third-party geofencing and geo-targeting we're into. Direct mail, area sponsorships, and then of course the print materials and the press releases. And we are still doing hometown press releases. So at graduation, that press release goes to Canada if it needs to. And that press release goes to all the student hometowns. And that's quite a chore for them to process downstairs, but they are able to do it. So when we get into, so I want to catch up with you, Matt, here. So the digital ads and yeah, so I just wanted to highlight, so our digital ads in our landing pages, In November 22 to January 23, in 3 months, our landing pages collectively, and let me back up a little bit, our landing pages, so we create digital ads that are running out on whatever platform, and we want that thumb to click that ad. That'll drive them to a landing page. And that landing page may be about culinary program, it might be about a livestock ag program, or it could just be about fall, spring, summer plus. They get into that landing page and we try to entice them then to give us a name and an email. And once they do that, this little short form in our system then will pop them into a communication flow, where for fall and spring, we have anywhere from 14 to 17 different emails set up that as they click that next day or so, they'll get an email from us. And we don't see them move. Our systems are synced with admissions recruit. When that student applies, they drop out of our system. And so if they don't drop out because they haven't applied yet, so many days later, they'll get a second email. And we'll say, hey, have you heard about scholarships? Hey, do you know about our res halls? Hey, do you know about our 30,000 or 30,000? No, 30 or more than 30 student organizations. And we drip campaign them to try to get them to apply. And not all of our email campaigns are that robust. Some of them have 3 or 4 emails in them, but at least it's a start. But anyway, collectively then, our landing pages collectively had more than 63,000 views in those 3 months with more than 1,400 clicks. Because we also will have apply now, we can see where they're clicking. And that was actually a 551% increase over the year before. So it really comes down to feeding the machine. When we can keep the emails running and we can keep the campaigns running, the thumbs work. Thumbs follow. But it's a challenge. And so there are weeks and there we'll look and we'll like, oh my gosh, we have 2 campaigns that we need to get back up and running. So there's 2 weeks of thumbs that maybe we didn't get. But in the email marketing world, we sit from June to December of 2022, over 444,000 emails out through that system. And we had over 244,000 opens. And that's a pretty good, we were thrilled with that click-through rate, but we're always constantly trying to improve the numbers, of course. But I thought that was a fun number to share. Let's see, right now in our system, we have around 30 who have applied and not enrolled, 30,000 who have applied and not enrolled, but we have over 41,000 in that system who have inquired with us, but they have not yet applied. So that's the group we really focus on, and that 41,000 is well beyond my contract for that system, but it only charges me when I email them. So they can sit in that system. I can get 70,000 in that system and I'm not going to be charged any differently. But if we can figure out those segmented, then we can start flighting those 41,000 out. So we'll hit 25 here, 25,000, we could hit another 25,000 over here in a different month and pulse it that way. So that is under exploration and further tweaking. For social media, we did a quick look from July 1 to December, and we manage those 7 main social channels within my department, but we are on hand to assist and help with 41 other college related or college officially approved, recognized social media platforms. And over that time, we've seen a growth across all the platforms in some form or fashion. And we saw a 57% increase in Twitter.
It's 221%.
Yeah, 221, yep, followers, yep, 221%. And then on likes on Instagram, and then YouTube, of course. Yeah, on YouTube. And I just put this little example of some of the social media posts. We're really, like I said, keen on getting those student faces and that student fun. So Miss Sarah went over to the ice rink in Wichita when they were having their event over there and got some fun stuff. And if you'll scroll down, I shared this little fun thing with Goofy, Goober, and Pumpkin. Now, I thought this was funny. So I don't know, Shelby, you might remember that tweet we did. We said, a knock, knock, who's there? And I was like, knock, knock, you know, this social media stuff I don't always get. So I'm like, knock, knock, who's there? Well, that simple tweet has had over 5,500 views. as of this last week. And then we answered it ourselves. Oh, apparently no one, LOL. Well, that has had over 4,900 views in Twitter. And so it's just this brand thing, right? And I shared that because our cute cows only had 479 reach, 470 some on it. And I'm like, man, I thought Goofy Goober would do a little better than than what they did. But anyway, I just thought that was fun. On the web traffic, overall, so that little note up there was just to remind me to share with you that year over year, so around 1 to June 30 timeframe, in 2021, we had 737,812 new users to our website. And in July 1 to June 30 of 2022, we had over 947,832 new users to our website.
That's amazing.
And that was up 28.4%. And if you look at only the fall alone, so I would have done probably a July 1 to an end of December count year over year. We actually had a 29.74% increase this last fall over the previous fall. And that, we are beating some national averages too on our digital campaigns. I've got more stats there. We've had over 4 consecutive years. We've had, well, I might be jumping ahead of myself actually. So let me just stick with this. Yeah, so on the web traffic, 5 years in a row, we have had good, healthy jumps in new users to the website. I mean, they're like nice stair steps. And I think that's exciting because a lot of marketers are thrilled if they see a 1.5% increase, if they just see this little inking up. But we've had some great stair stepping climbs going on. And roughly we were about, let me see here, little note I've got. New users have climbed pretty steadily to currently just over 500,000 as they've stepped up. So anyway, good stuff there. Let's see. I wanted to share, a little bit. So we did last fall, actually just a couple months worth. I thought this was a fun tidbit to share in 2 months, roughly 8 weeks. It was June 27th to August 22. Ads ran across 8 different platforms, digital platforms out there in the world for a total of our impressions, 1,836,064 impressions off of those 8 different platforms. We had 8,634 clicks through our ATD system, and that is advanced technology. And that is, if you think your phones aren't listening, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Also, streaming and Snapchat have been outperforming our industry standards. The average click-through for them were for that was over 1,000. They kind of estimated 1,079 clicks, kind of the average, what you typically get in there. And our Butler ad clicks from ATD were over 2,876. And Facebook was 1,186. Snapchat was 3,400. Thumbs on Snapchat, they're more intentional. We've learned some thumbs in Twitter. There's a psychology to the thumb based on the platform. And Snapchat thumbs are more serious about engagement. We just kind of regularly just see that. So I thought that was fun. Also, the click-through rates that beat the average of 0.47, and because we had a 0.52 click-through rate, and that helped keep our cost per conversion low or lower than the national average. The national average is about $41.88, and our cost per conversion was around $30. And over the last 10 years, then 10 years, no, it feels like 10. Yeah. Feels like 10. Through that automated system with our emails and the work with admissions and advising and the program leads and the deans, there is a synergy And we've had now 4 consecutive years of our acceptance letters at 10,000. And that was something that when we had first on campus now several years ago, they had challenged us to get those acceptance letters back up to over 10,000, which was a mark that we had hit in 2013. And so we have done that, and it's not easy, and it's not going to be easy to keep them there. Our population is shrinking, and there's certainly a lot of competition there, but we're excited about that. Also, so the next through slides are just examples of the different ads we put together. It just depends on what platform and where those run, and it also depends on the audience that we're trying to reach or trying to get the attention of. So some of them are very program specific. We did the "Your School Not the Right Fit" with the foot. We sent that out to the university students. Like, you know what? Sometimes you just want something smaller. But yeah, let's see. Well, I think that's for most of it. I just wanted to give a shout out to the folks that work with me every day and help me get it all done. Seeing behind cameras, and sometimes you don't see them at all, because I also it's not a joke. You'll hear me say it. It's our hands are on the keyboard and it's not getting wet. It's true. That's where our magic, I mean, besides getting the assets across all of our campuses, they're slamming out on some keyboards and getting their work put together. And I just wanted to cut my limit how many years. So collectively, with this little group, we have over 54 years in higher ed. And we have almost right around 98 years of total marketing experience. And Butler captures 34 years of that experience here at Butler alone. They're a great group, and it's a privilege to work with them every day. So I guess, last but not least, April, right around the corner. April is National Community College Month, and we're getting ready to have some fun there because when you know community colleges, which we're all passionate about, we're the best on-ramp to a better life that there is in the country through higher education. And I will stand by that. So we're getting ready to have some fun with that. And congrats to Butler for what they do, but also to all of the state's community colleges. I guess with that, I would.
I have a question real quick.
Mhm.
You guys do any marketing in Spanish?
Tell you what, we have done very little,
That's the only
very
group
little.
of people who are increasing in the high
Yes,
school graduation. It's
yes.
they're up 6 to 8%, and everyone else is down. So it's a market that needs to know, like, hey, you want to
Well-
save some money, come to Butler. I mean, even some billboards in Spanish wouldn't be a bad idea. I'm not trying to tell you how to do your job, but
No,
it's
it
the
actually.
one group of folks who are actually increasing.
Mhm. We have talked with Kelsey here in our foreign language department and what they're doing at foreign language wise and putting programs online. So that actually is on our radar, but we haven't done much with it yet. Yeah,
When you say we have 9 million new users, are you talking about 9 million new individuals or 9 million unique clicks?
that would have been 900,000. Yeah, new users. So those would have been new thumbs. Those aren't sessions. Session might be the same person repeating themselves over on the website.
I can't wrap my head around 900,000 new thumbs, new individuals coming to our website or
users.
interacting.
Well, and like I said, it's the synergy, right? It's synergy. So it's not just you've got admissions and advising out all over, but then you've also got nationally recognized sporting teams. So you've got nationally recognized nursing, fine arts,
Agricultural programs.
the livestock judging team. And from our talks with livestock a couple of years ago, it was amazing. Those students that we were interviewing were like second or third generation coming in, or it was the same family, but yeah, my older brother, my older sister came here. So now it's my, or the grads are now sending their kids from Virginia.
For 6 years, I had one family live across the street where the older brother, the second one, the third one, the fourth one, the fifth one They all spent 2 years at Butler. Then one would go to Ohio State, one would go to K-State, one would go to Oklahoma State, one went to Virginia. I mean, it was like, and they were originally from Ohio.
Mhm. And you have the residual too. So there is and Jessica might be able to answer this faster than I can, but there is a class at Wichita State that would refer, and I think maybe it was engineering or something like that. But that's my point is it's not something we necessarily even marketed, but they know. And we get a lot out of Florida for a particular online course through the might be nursing or pre-health, but we see that hit on our web analytics a lot.
Talk a little bit also, I talked about this, but talk a little bit also about how the synergy between you marketing, what marketing's doing and what Grizzly Vision's doing now too with the sports productions and those kinds of things, because that adds to the web hits and the likes and all of that sort of stuff too.
Yes.
And that's those are some of the social media channels that you guys also.
Well, BCTV has also expanded into all the major communities in Butler County. So that helps us get more eyeballs. And then with what they're doing, so we've created a video team where Matt and Tyler can partner with the marketing team, and they're getting those quick little event oriented videos out, student focused, student messaging that can fly out there too and hit across social platforms. And I know that there's a good partnership between Grizzly Visions with the athletic program also, and Michaela down there is turning stuff out too all the time. So there is a synergy, just, I keep hitting the mic.
But it doesn't hurt when you send teams to the national
right.
tournaments either.
Right.
They get a lot of exposure.
So I've got a Google alert set up, and anytime Butler Community College is mentioned, then it, sometimes it's Florida, it's just get hit in the, in a newspaper at some other state, or you might even know this, Matt, better than I do, but like Sports Illustrated, I swear within the last 6 months or a year, we had a Butler County Community College mentioned in Sports Illustrated because they were talking about an alum somewhere.
Had it over national television with Demarius Lawrence.
Yep. So
Any other questions?
When's our 100th anniversary?
2019, 2027.
2027.
Yes.
Yep, we started Georgia up in the 1927.
Yeah,
2027. Wow.
I know. Yes. Billy, did you have a question?
Yes, I was just wondering, do you have any idea? You probably have categories of expense and expense, so much on social platform, so much on magazine, so much newspaper publications or whatever. But do you have an idea of what those categories are? I'm just curious because I see whatever college.
Yep, we've got it busted out through, it wouldn't necessarily be magazine, but it would be print,
Yeah, anything.
radio, TV, and I've just got a big category for digital, and that's going to hit your OTT, your streaming radio, TV, and all of these digital ads, that sort of thing. So what the research is telling us is, of course, move away from your traditional TV and your print. And I still do more print. It always amazes me how much print I end up doing at the end of the year. When I look back at it, traditional TV this year, I cut way down. And now I'm kind of adding a little more back in because I've had people like, well, I don't see you. Well, it's out in the streaming world, but we're going to probably beef up the traditional a little bit. But the majority, I think I want to say majority on the digital stuff. That's the focus. That's what money is, into those digital thumbs and eyeballs.
And then I was going to ask you, can you provide a list of social platforms, the seven that you're talking about? What the names are, and also
we have a social media page, and that's where I took that number. So we have a page out on our website, social media, that's recognized, because we have a form. And what I mean by recognized, officially recognized, we have a form that the owner of that channel needs to fill out and Yeah,
Those 41.
yeah, they're listed. You can see the different student groups that have them, but the 7, I think if you just go out and search social media on the website.
There it is.
Yeah, it should go. But the 7, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok,
Snapchats.
Snapchat. Thank you. And there's a couple out there we're exploring because of course we're keeping the eye on TikTok and depending on what we need to do with TikTok, we won't just walk away. There are a couple other apps out there that we probably need to get into regardless. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Yes, I was just wondering, there's a couple of things that I wrote down when you were talking, and I thought of this in a nice presentation. You still should be able to ever make a correlation, and I'm not saying that we haven't already done that. But it would be nice if we could make some kind of correlation between the success of a certain area, like and somehow correlated to the moment, especially particular programs, we might be advertising ag programs more than we're advertising culinary and vice versa. I don't know, but is there any way to measure that? How much it might be worth?
Well, I think that, I mean, it's certainly tricky, but that's kind of what our strategic enrollment management team is doing. And that's kind of what we're doing through a lead qualification review too, is, okay, are we getting the right people into, because it's all psychology and it's behavior and it's characteristics. Are we getting the
Right people in?
into an enrollment funnel for let's say livestock, ag? Are we getting the right people that have the highest propensity to enroll?
Is a lot of them coming from?
You know,
I just recently saw how they had changed so much of their information requirements. And I don't know if the requirements as much as they're. We'd like to have it so we can search on it.
Yeah, we don't do a whole lot of advertising on LinkedIn right now because it can get kind of pricey really quick. But LinkedIn over the last 5 years has certainly exploded. So I'm always amazed at how much activity now it has. Comments, shares from the business world. So there's certain products that would do really well in LinkedIn. The micro credentials, the Adobe Creative Campus, I think has a great opportunity there for the creatives in this area because there are a lot of them. And the apprenticeships that we're able to do now, I think has a good opportunity for LinkedIn.
Now, does your organization, do they probably send out this?
No, yeah, and through admissions and the.
What initiatives?
They fill out,
Application.
complete the application, and since we're open access, the vast majority are accepted and admitted, and once they get admitted, then they'll get a letter with their Butler credentials. And correct me when I'm wrong.
Just hand those out. High schools.
Yeah.
Very informative.
Yes.
To answer that question, yeah, the students do need to apply to the college and then they are accepted and we send them an email and also a letter in the mail.
Thanks. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The floor is yours.
All right, well, that's a tough act to follow. So just you guys should have a printout in front of you that Jennifer delivered. It's a two-sided printout. In preparation for having a conversation with you guys about the bigger technology strategic plan, we made a little bit of a shift because we're kind of presented with a piece of our plan now that we've kind of got a little bit of an emergency coming up, and I'm going to explain that. So I'd like to start on the side that says Information Services PC Replacement Plan Summary. So as part of our strategic plan, we have a technology replacement plan. It's designed to establish an ongoing replacement schedule and implementation of technology so that we can achieve sustainability, technology, enriched environment, and meet the requirements and strategic goals of the institution. The goal of this plan, of our replacement plan, is to, what it sounds like, right? Replace technology in a timely manner when the life cycles of the hardware comes due, or when the technology is no longer capable of serving the purpose. So in general, I'm going to kind of go down through this a little bit, but in general, we're on a 5-year. We've talked about this some before. We're on a 5-year replacement plan. We work really hard to even stretch that in areas that we can. But sometimes technology evolves, which we're going to talk about on page 2, that we have to compress that a little bit. And this is one of the situations that we're in now. On that front page, you'll see just some kind of advantages and reasons that it's important to adhere to a general replacement plan. It allows us to keep up with advancements. It improves the productivity and efficiency of the computers and devices that we use. Certainly, there's a heavy focus on enhanced security, which is what's going to lead us into the second part of this conversation. And it reduces our maintenance costs, as just like with anything, the older a device gets, the more it's used, the more maintenance there is. So we have an annual PC replacement that we talk about every year. We buy some new computers. So that's just that piece of it's just a very brief summary of what we're going to talk about. I think more in depth here in a couple of months when I present to you guys at a regular board meeting about our strategic plan. But I wanted you guys to have that information in front of you as we move into the back page of this, which is our FY23. I think I got that right. I don't know how this our replacement needs currently. So as I mentioned, we generally adhere to a 5-year replacement plan on computing devices. This cycle can be affected by technology evolution, vendor software security, patching, support, and availability of technology. And we're currently experiencing a situation that requires altering this replacement cycle on some of our devices. So our division is currently in the process of upgrading our Windows machines to Windows 11. And there's some specific reasons for that. It's more secure. Windows 11 has security features built into it to prevent ransomware and some of these other pieces that are happening. Plus, Windows 10 is going out of support with Microsoft, so we're going to lose that support cycle. With the need to upgrade our Windows devices to Microsoft Windows 11, we've identified a significant number of our units that do not meet the required specifications necessary. Windows 11 requires you to have, so this is technical, I'm going to make it quick, but it's a TPM 2.0 chip, which is the trusted platform module. Windows 11 won't install without the TPM 2.0 chip on the computer. 4.5 years ago, when we bought some of our laptops for between 4.5 and 5.5 years ago now, for some of our classrooms, this technology wasn't there and it wasn't necessary. But now we have ran into a situation where we have the Dell Latitude 3380 laptops that we use in most of our classrooms. They don't meet the TPM requirements to be able to install Windows 11 on. So most of those Dell laptops are approaching that 5-year mark. Some of them are just below the 5-year mark. Some of them are older than 5 years. We've tried to stretch them. They're also impacted by the greater battery life, just what happens with laptops when you use them. So as this 2.0 requirement didn't exist when we purchased these devices, we now have an immediate need to upgrade 783 laptops across the institution. 700 of those devices are in classrooms, specifically for student use, and 83 of the last laptops are in use by staff and faculty, just kind of across the board. The total cost of the replacement for those will come in at roughly $515,000. And so as this exceeds the normal budgeted amount available in our annual PC replacement plan, and as the bulk of these are for student use, we're recommending that the additional funding that's necessary to purchase these devices come from our technology project fund, which is a dedicated fund that uses student technology fees for this purpose. I want to introduce this conversation. You guys have a discussion if you have questions, because we'll need, in order for us to be able to replace these, we have to do it over the summer because we can't do it during the school year. So we'll need to order them in April, and we just got, so at the April board meeting, I'll be coming back to you.
How important is it to make this purchase immediate? I mean, I hear what you're saying. I know about 11. But how important really is it to make this upgrade right? Because this is obviously something that you foresaw. And although I understand about the chip, I think sometimes these guys that are got nothing better to do, just figure out ways to eliminate.
Well, what we know for sure is Windows 11 will not install on a device that does not have the TPM 2.0 chip.
And Windows 10 is going to be supported in.
Windows 10 is moving out of support. So they're October, the final out date is October of 25, but we're going to have the second batch of these in FY 24 that we need to buy. So we're trying to capture the bulk of the classroom piece of it right now.
Could you furnish us a list, I guess, of. Look, I'm not picking on. you,
Sure.
But I want to know exactly how many, you said 783 laptops they're going to replace.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
need to have all of those on, exactly. 20 of them are 5 years old, 16 of them are 100 years old, 4 of them are 2 years old, something like this.
Yeah, that's fine. All of them were purchased in 18, a few in 19.
You said the first batch, is there gonna be another 700?
Not this size, not this size. We've got to replace the lab, but no, we'll have to be able to pull the rest of them in through the regular replacement plan next year. Because they were purchased in late 19 and in 20. And they'll be at that 4-year mark then, 4 or 5 year mark then.
Just out of date, so-
Well, so no, I totally get that. Believe me. Trustee, yeah, that is, I mean, I've been in technology a long time. It's one of my biggest frustrations with technology. But the reality of what we do here is from a PC standpoint, we stretch that life. When you go to most businesses, they have their PCs on a 3 or 4 year replacement plan. We stretch that and we'll add some memory here for really cheap, $10, you can get it now, per device to try to stretch that life cycle of that out. What the great thing about technology today, and everything changes. So this may change tomorrow. So if it does, don't shoot the messenger. But the software that we're getting isn't requiring more computing power than what the technology standard is today. And it hasn't for a while. That's why we've been able to stretch this. The challenge we have right now is this security module. And they've had to make some adjustments within Windows because Microsoft Windows is the most attacked platform in the world, more than Apple and more than Linux and Unix. And so they've made this adjustment to prevent these challenges, or to help prevent these challenges that companies and institutions of higher education have had with ransomware and with cybersecurity attacks. And that's what that trusted platform module does. The software, Windows 11, can't communicate with the previous model of that trusted platform module. And so it's the new standard. And to your point, I don't know. I mean, they may change that standard in 6 months. I don't know. What we know is that recently came out when Windows 11's second edition got released. It's not installing on our old TPM computers. So it's
I'll tell you, you shut down, and I remember when the Wichita district was attacked and you shut down a whole district's computer system.
nobody's immune to it. And I don't want to give any false illusions here, but this is, it's my role to come to you guys to tell you what the risk is and what we're doing to try to mitigate that risk. And you guys decide what our risk posture is. Yes, ma'am.
When this comes back, will you provide us with the reserve fund?
Absolutely.
information that this is coming out of, and just like the one that we did last month, so that we can see when these expenditures were coming out of regular budget, and so we have a sense of.
Absolutely.
And I think these out of.
None of these were, no,
This is, yeah.
no. Thank you. No, yeah, I agree. Yes, ma'am.
I'm just curious, like, what our responsibility well, a couple of things. If a student comes to us and they already have the computer, I mean, how does that work? Do they get any kind of, credit or whatever? What's our obligation as an institution to provide a computer? Because like my daughter goes to K-State and she has her own computer. It's getting pretty old. And I'm just like, she's like, I'm going to need a computer. I don't see K-State providing any kind of computer. And I asked her about it and she's like, yeah, those are crap. So I don't know if crap means it's an HP and she wants a Mac.
Sure.
Highly possible, but
That conversation well. trust
yeah,
me.
exactly. So that's just my curiosity is just, what do students typically come in with? Can we, we work to that into their pricing at all? And do we really feel like we have to supply a computer to everyone? I'm just wondering how it's probably a moving target, but.
No, I appreciate the question. So what these are and what we provide are classrooms that are equipped with the technology in the classroom. What we found when we had to go remote for COVID is that I was shocked at how many people just didn't have access to computing technology unless they were on campus. That doesn't mean there aren't students that bring their own devices, just like my daughter at college as well has her own Mac and she chooses to use it rather than what's available in some of the classrooms. Now, a lot of our classrooms, a general lecture hall is not going to have necessarily computers in it. These are replacing computer labs, places where they go to write their essays or to do their creative work and do math testing. A lot of it's testing.
Okay.
So they're not provided a computer. These are provided within the classroom. They're maintained in the classroom. If a student comes to campus with their own device, they can connect to our network and use it across the board. And that student can go to our service desk and ask questions, and we'll give the best help we can. Our student workers are trained to fix the computers that we have, and when everyone brings something different in, they'll do its best effort.
Right.
But no, I appreciate the question. I get to have the same conversation with my daughter.
Yeah.
Use what you can.
Yeah, exactly.
But I would say these computers aren't crap.
Yeah.
But they're not the latest and greatest Mac.
But it's separate from saying we have a 1-to-1 ratio. Like when I was on the board in Augusta, that was the thing, 1-to-1 ratio.
We don't have a
Had to
1-to-1.
computer and that's.
We
so-
do have a student laptop program where a full-time enrolled student can enroll in the program for $150 and they get a laptop. You guys approved that right?
Yeah,
right-
that's,
Yeah.
that
like,
makes
during
sense. So
COVID.
that's separate from this.
No, these are classroom computers. These are specific instruction and classroom computers.
The next round is going to be for students that have.
No, that we maintain 2,400 devices on campus. So this is 700 of those.
So what would be the plan for all the computers that are being retired? Because I feel like there would still be some life left in them. I mean, my business computer is probably the same Dell that you're retiring. I've had it 4.5 years, but I still have life in it and I don't plan on upgrading mine anytime soon, but I'm a smaller business.
All of our retired devices go through a recycler. We don't maintain them here. We don't sell them here. We've tried selling years ago. We sold them in auction here, and then we would get inundated with calls from people at home that their
Right.
computer doesn't work, and we don't have the
Sorry.
staffing for
Your
that. So
dad sold them.
I know. I'm sure
Right.
I didn't answer
Sold
the
a lot of
calls
stuff
about
that
them.
Didn't work.
Yeah.
No comment. I'm not making that comment, but everything goes to recycler. We do get paid for PCs that they buy, laptops, so desktops and laptops. It's just a nominal fee. Prior to our relationship with them, we had to pay somebody to recycle all of our e-waste. We can't just take it to the dump.
Can we at least know the plan towards 700 replacement platforms? Where they are going to go, where's the computer labs, how many are in each of those?
Sure.
Like maybe there's 2 labs here, right, only going to be 40 to go through. 15 in the 0. So for instance, I'd really like.
Sure. They'll go where all of our Dell 3380s are. So I know, I mean, I'll get the list to you, but we're not, I mean, I'm just so you know, we're not like picking and choosing which ones we replace. We have to replace the
Right,
Dell
that's
3380s. Yeah, so.
Any other questions?
Any more high school kids, like the high schools, or they're not using computers, they're using Surface Pros and iPads, so
I can't
when a
afford,
kid comes to
this is a lot
school,
cheaper than a Surface
there's a
Pro.
lot of times they don't even come with the computer,
No, I understand. No, I
because
get
of
it.
what they've used at their high school.
Right.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
Thanks. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Bill.
Yeah, thank you.
The next part of this is just discussion about preparation for the Higher Learning Commission site visit. I told the exec council folks that they didn't have to stick around, that they could go ahead and go and could just be the board and, and me that talk just a little bit for a little bit, but we want to take a quick break, get some snacks, and then get back together for just a little bit. We can talk a little bit about, the mock visit and preparing for the
17th of April.
17th.
Okay, 45.
4:15.
That's what I sent. That's what I sent to the site team chair. I have not had that confirmed because we don't have the final schedule yet. Probably until, I don't know. It'll be at least another week, if not longer, before we get a schedule from them. We're hoping we'll have it at least 10 days out.
Good. Good.
So, see you. Thank you.
Right now.
Yes.
No, same thing with my daughters. I always have to pay this back to this.
Well, schoolwork.
Emails start coming.
It's like. My to-do list is getting longer and longer.
Want to get this done. Yeah.
When you're frantic.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're frantic.
No, it's not. Not.
It's all prioritized. I gotta get everything.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, I would
I'll be
love it. Yeah. From there, yes. Goes from there. Oh. It'll be fun. Fun to get away. Fun to see the kidlets.
Are they getting any sleep?
They are, yeah. They kind of have a little bit of a routine figured out and, yeah, but you know, I think they are. But John said, you know, this,
That is
like changes. You know, we think we have it figured out and that changes. And I said, well, that's the way that it is. You'll get settled into a pretty good routine before too long. It's just fun to watch them navigating this. They're figuring out how to coordinate everything.
Thank you, honey.
And he was telling me today that they.
You're a work hard. Like this kind of time.
She has a tendency to wake up, startled.
It's like
when they go to fast minute. And so he was telling me today that they, you know, yesterday or the day before had her just sack out sound. John said, had her, they had her on the bottom of the bassinet and. You know, getting about 2 millimeters from the top of the, you know, the crib mattress, and she just had this explosion of mouth. He said it didn't even wake her up. And he said, here we are, Joy and I are standing there. Do we let her sleep or do we wake her up and change her pants? And he said, you know, as good parents, we woke her up and changed her pants and then she was awake or changed her diaper. Then she was awake for a while, you know? So it's just fun to hear the stories. You get some snacks? Okay, we'll let you get some snacks real quick.
Well, Mayor Martin said.
I think that's how we get to be a positive part of our minds, like what can we?
So did you do your skydiving?
I did. I only did a tandem jump. I didn't do a solo.
But it was fun.
Oh, it's blast, yeah. And that's like the fourth one I've done. But if you do 2 tandems, you have 30 days to do your solo. But if you do 1 tandem, you have forever to do your second tandem for less than half price if you pay for it. So I bought my second tandem.
Oh, good.
But I told my son, I'm like, my arm strength, there's no way. Like I cannot guide a parachute for that long down.
Right.
I just don't think I'm physically strong enough. He was arguing with me, but I'm like, and then I finally said, you know what? You've rolled your ankle. You've flown into a barbed wire fence. Your friend landed in an electric wire. I'm like, I'm thinking I'll just pass.
Like
Like
just
I
continue
will
to do
do
the tandem jumps.
every once in a while,
That's
and I'm good. Like I don't love it enough to break anything or end up in a in the bed especially, but I don't really worry about that. It's the landing that's super
Yeah.
dangerous. and
What
hard.
is this? What
Skydiving.
You did it?
Yeah, and I've done it several times, but I just never by myself. I've always just done tandem.
Did you get hurt?
No,
Oh,
not doing.
But that's what
tandem,
she's
but
saying. She's
I
not
don't
gonna
want to
use-
risk it. I'd rather have somebody who knows what they're doing.
Here was my tandem. Come down, he says, push hard
Uh-huh,
and then get your legs up.
uh-huh.
So we're coming down, push hard, legs up, breeze stopped.
Oh, God.
So I fell out of the
Exactly,
plane,
ow.
2,000 feet onto my fists.
Mhm.
Oh,
It's like we
geez.
hit really hard. And it's
Yeah.
like, thanks, really appreciate it. You know,
Yeah, that was,
I
yeah.
thought I'd broken
Ouch.
it.
Was it over there by Derby?
No, we went down to Dallas, Texas, because they get up higher. They do 14,000 feet, whereas down by Rose Hill, it's only 10,000. So you get a longer free fall and stuff. So, and now his next thing is he's getting his B license so that he can skydive off of a hot air balloon. And that wasn't enough for him. So he Googled and found a guy that did the world record tightrope slack line between two hot air balloons.
Okay, grief.
So
Yeah.
he FaceTimed with that guy from Brazil. So that's his new project, is to go to Brazil late this summer and skydive off the hot air balloons as this guy is doing the slack line. I'm like, it's another day in Tanner's life. I'm
Oh
like,
my God.
I told him, I said, please schedule it for August because July's full and I want to go. Like, I want to walk.
Oh, my.
So yeah,
That's,
That
sounds
kid.
like it's
always something.
constant. Yeah.
is this trampoline?
Yeah. Yeah.
The YouTuber.
I thought it would be really important to just have you guys kind of process the conversation that you had with Brian when he was here. As you know, as he talked, as you guys did your kind of your mock visit, and as he talked to you about the site visit in April, and then I can give you a little bit of feedback on what he, what he suggested to me that might be helpful for all of you too. So I know Julie wasn't here, so it might be good for you guys to kind of visit a little bit about the conversation that you had with Brian, and if there are things that you learned from him about what that visit will entail and what you need to expect. And then we can kind of talk about what he suggested, for me too. So you guys talk. I'm gonna get some coverage.
You guys had a session and he communicated his thoughts to Ken, but not you.
No, we had a session with him where it started off as him being a mock panel, and he was asking us questions like the panel would. And it pretty quickly it turned into more of a back and forth where there'd be some dialogue, then there'd be some more questions, and there'd be some more dialogue, and then there'd be some more questions. And then we got feedback from him at the end, and then he had separately met before or after with Dr. Kroll
Just
on
before he
the
left.
broader scale.
Yeah.
So that's the feedback I think that we'll
Yeah,
get.
I wasn't part of I didn't sit in with.
I think,
board when
I
they
think
met
the
with-
most important thing is just to answer the questions that they asked,
But brevity, I think, is
Right, brevity, when you're dealing with committees like that, brevity is key.
I feel like it's gonna be kind of, it's nearly impossible to know what they're gonna center on, because they're gonna watch our meetings and then they're gonna determine what they want to ask us, That's kind of what I took from it, but I misinterpreted that.
I think he said focus on criterion 1, 2, and 5, but particularly on criterion 2. So to the extent we all have time to either review or go back and re-review the submission, focusing especially on criterion 2, I think that'll be. Because one would assume that's going to lead, a lot of their questions are going to come out of issues that were raised on that, or that they perceive out of that criterion. But yeah, I think you're right, Kim. We don't know exactly. We'll have to be reactive to where they're coming from.
Yeah, and the site team chair probably won't necessarily give me a lot of insight. That team will meet Sunday night when they come into town. That'll be the first time probably that they've been together. And they will have been meeting by Zoom before that. I don't know, just probably a couple of times, but that'll be the first time that they actually are together. But they'll spend some time, in those Zoom meetings, and then Sunday night when they come to town, talking about what everybody's read and what their focus areas are, because everybody will be assigned a certain focus area. So there'll be, a couple of people that'll be focusing on assessment, and there'll be a couple of people that'll be focusing on finance and stuff like that. So everybody's kind of reading that assurance argument with a specific focus in mind. And so they'll come as they talk as a team, and they'll talk about those things, and, here are the things that I noticed, here are the things maybe that I don't understand or that I still have questions about. And then asking the rest of the team what they have, gotten from the reading of the assurance argument. So we really won't have any heads up about any of that until the team is actually here on campus and starts to meet with the groups. I think the very first morning, typically the site team chair meets with me, with the president, whoever the president is, to kind of just get acquainted and say, here's what the schedule is, and here's, who we're going to talk to, and here's some of the questions that we have. So we may get a little bit of insight, but we'll find out kind of as the day goes along and as Tuesday goes along, what their questions are and what their focus areas should be.
Just wonder whether it's some kind of it came with digital.
Because Julia copied the exact document that went into the assurance portal, and that's the format of it.
Is this what you're saying? Is this what gives it to them?
It has been
It's
submitted. Yes,
been-
we write to very specific things.
Okay, so there's no cover page?
No.
None.
No, it's their format. We follow their format exactly.
No BS.
No, but.
Know what?
Okay.
No,
No.
they're the ones that dictate that format from start to finish.
So you send that by email, but then the links aren't live. Is that correct? So you have to
That's
go
what I
on
told you.
SharePoint.
You have to go
get-
into SharePoint.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's just through our laptops that we have. That might be the reason I actually break that thing out.
Yeah, because the only way those hyperlinks work is if that document is housed in the same location as, you've mapped that pathway, but they have to be in the same folder in the same location. So once you remove it or you move it, it breaks the links.
After the fact, I thought that, when just thinking back to the questions we were asking, the answers that we gave, I think that we showed collectively a lot of frustration with things, and I'm not sure that's what we want to do. I'm just as good as anyone else for doing that, and I think we need to look at and answer these questions from a positive perspective. So we may feel challenged, it's no secret that our meetings have seen challenges. We, I think, need to convey that despite the fact that, some people at times think it's advocates or bringing up something else that everybody agrees with, that we're still making strong decisions. We're not making decisions that are jeopardizing the operation of the college. I'll fully admit that I think the way we've reacted as the board of trustees does impact its backing. And we talked about that, but I don't think it's going to do us any good for us to show them our frustration when we're asking them to evaluate us on the whole. And I want to be sure that we convey that we are making stronger decisions as a board. So, I just say that I'm first to make something from that. Looking at the challenges. And I tell them a lot of details about things that happened in the past that we agree, we're going to agree. They can see that they want to watch everything that we've done, but again, I think we need to convey that the outcome of our decisions have been positive for the college. And let's think that we have anything, aside from looking at the financial side of the program, are we really feeling like that we aren't doing the job that we should be doing for our students, that our instructors aren't doing that? I don't think we are. I think we take a lot of pride in a lot of the things that are happening. So that's just my
We should do some showing.
Oh, just to respond to that, I mean, if they come confrontational of like, why am I so aggressive? It's like, I'm doing nothing more than trying to find out where we are as an institution, where we stand, data-driven wise, in every aspect, so we can make good informed decisions. You may not like my approach, but that's what's behind my approach. Transparency. When we got on the board, it was, what was it? What was the slogan? There's something along the lines of more data, better decision. I forget the name of it now, but then we asked for stuff and we didn't get it, and it's like, then we had to start making core requests, and it was just information was not readily available. So it's like, so then we have to become a little more aggressive or not nice to get data. We're not doing it to make anyone look bad. I just need to know what's going on. You know, how's softball team doing? What revenue do they generate? What are our expenses? While you're asking me for $400,000 for the field and the locker room, I need to know that data. Just let me know, and then I shouldn't have to try and ask for it. So I understand what you're saying. I don't want to come across confrontation with the HLC folks, but I also have been intimidated and threatened with them for the last 3.5 years. If I don't do what I'm told, HLC is going to smack us with a hammer. It's like, it's not my job here to come here and be quiet and do what I'm told and listen at the meetings and maybe ask a question. And that's my job as a trustee. That's not my job as a trustee. I'm that weird personality where I have to say what I think, and I'm not going to say something unless I really think it. And I understand. Now that's who Augusta elected this time, and it's, and I'm not doing anything to damage the college. I think the more data we know, the better, period. Sometimes it's hard to know what's under the bed. We're always scared of it till we find out. And it's like, oh yeah, we're actually doing good here, bad there. Let's fix it and drive on.
I would say like at the mock meeting, I think Shelby and I spoke our truth like we always do. And I don't think either one of us came across in a bad light. I'd be interested to hear if the feedback was such that we did. Because I feel like that type of communication is how we operate. But to that point, I do agree with Linda in the sense that an HLC violation or anything, any realm of that can be a nightmare and can jeopardize a college. So there needs to be a decorum in how we come across in that room. And that's extremely important.
And just, and do one quick follow-up. The president of Neosho said his college got suspended or whatever the violation is. He said they were bleeding from the ears because things were so bad. And then they brought in a hard-ass president who wasn't nice, who had to, crack the whip and turn everything around. Okay, that's me here now before we go down that road. I'm not being totally polite, but I'm trying to prevent them being where they were. So if I come across aggressive sometimes, I'm not doing it to be just to be mean. It's like, we got to find out where we are and where we're going before we end up financially in trouble. So that's.
Yeah, they had to go out for warrants to pay payroll and had done no assessment at all. We're not in that situation at all. We have robust assessments and we have our finances are really in good shape. Careful where Neosho was, that was their problem at the time. And you'll have to know what warrants because they couldn't make payroll, And so that situation was really dire for them. You might want to, does everybody know what no fund warrants are and how they affect the taxpayers?
I don't know that it matters for where.
It doesn't matter for us.
Well, Neosho's situation isn't going to come up.
So it doesn't matter. Why do we care?
Well, it's
I
not,
care
no,
about
it's,
a lot.
it's not a matter of not caring. Let's just focus.
About this.
Okay, well,
Let's focus our discussion.
That your interruption.
Oh, enough.
That no fund warrants burden the taxpayers further when a mistake is. And I think some of the things that we ask for as a board are very important to the individual asking for them, so they can see that we're doing good and in good financial shape. So that being said, I'm just explaining, if you have a tax warrant, your taxpayers will pay it the next year. Whoever you get your taxes from in support of the college will pay it the following year, because actually it's a loan from the state.
Dr. Cole, did you have any, what feedback did you get from that we might not know about?
Brian said that the conversation was really good. He thought it was professional. He thought it was You know, if there was good dialogue back and forth, he did kind of what you guys said. He indicated that, you know, we want to make sure that you answer their questions, but that you don't dominate the conversation with past grievances and, you know, those kinds of things. He said you want to make sure that you're answering their questions in a succinct way so that they can continue to ask questions and get more information. He thought it was important that kind of to what you're saying, Linda, about you know, helping them understand you've made good decisions, you've made positive decisions, you know, in upgrading technology and doing all the different things that we've done. He thinks it's really important that as a board collectively that you spend a little bit of time before they're here and put together kind of a plan for how you're going to convince them or tell them that you're addressing the challenges that the board faces with communication and with, you know, the dissension and those kinds of things. He feels like it could be impactful, not in a very positive way, if you just leave it up to the site team to decide this is what this board needs to do to communicate better and to continue to move things forward, because it's really important for you to be able to acknowledge the challenges that you've had, but to Linda's point, be able to say, but look at the things that we have, decisions we've made. This is how we're going to hold each other accountable. This is the way that we're going to deal with the, you know, the challenges or the disagreements that we have, and we've made a commitment to do that. And he thinks it's really important that you know, have that collective vision or conversation in place. Because the whole key to this is the site team and how they perceive the information that they're gathering from people, and you know, they talk to you, but then they're going to hear probably from some of the other groups that they talk with, that you know, the employee base or whoever they're talking to perceives that there are more issues. They'll hear that. It's not going to be a, you know.
Will they
That's
go
the
out
way
in-
the employees feel.
So they go out in the community.
No, they don't do any kind of communications. Years ago, they used to sometimes have, you know, a lunch with community leaders or advisory groups or something like that, but the format of their business has changed significantly. They do seek or provide an opportunity prior to their visit for any kind of third party comment. We had to send out a student survey based on their timeline, and students had an opportunity to respond to that. But they won't have any. They just send the students, but they'll be talking.
I was gonna say, they'll talk to faculty all, you know, right.
But they don't talk.
Do they by nature view a 4-3 vote as a negative thing?
It
And
depends on the site team.
I just didn't know, because I mean, I don't know if this is possible, but to me, some kind of resolution with that would be, okay, if we have a 4-3 vote, whatever that is, then, you know, prior to that vote, if you put the question out to the dissenting 3, what would need to happen in order for you to vote yes? So for instance, on the softball thing, if I'm not comfortable spending, you know, voting to spend $200,000 because I don't know how softball's doing. And what would it take to get you there? Well, can I see how softball's doing, you know? And if the request to that is no, then the vote stays 4-3. Because if you have to have some kind of means to an end, if you want to bring synergy, then there has to be a plan to get each side to some kind of center. And that's like what we did with the culinary building, when it was like, okay, can't justify 1.5, we ended up doing the 1.25, you know, and there was compromise. So I feel like we could get more synergy there if there was a path to trying to bridge the gap.
That could be, yeah, that could be part of the conversation or part of the solution that you would provide the site
Put out there.
Yeah, the site team typically, they are gonna know each other. It's rare that they will have, because they don't go as teams to each college. They're randomly chosen for the most part. And so the likelihood that these folks have worked together at another institution on a site visit is, you know, it's pretty rare.
unless they've been a peer reviewer for a long time, and then maybe they cross some of these people along the way, but not the entire collective group. So they're gonna be getting acquainted with each other, so it's really hard to say, because every team is different. And the thing, the thing is that we will, after they're here, and we get the first draft of their report, Brian, maybe explain this. The first draft that comes back to us is that we'll be able to correct errors of fact. And that's it. We won't be able to say, oh, you're wrong about this. The only thing that we can correct is if they have somebody's name wrong or the title wrong or, whatever. Once we get their initial report, we'll have an opportunity to respond to that, but we won't be able to say to them, you're completely wrong about this. This is not accurate. We'll be able to say, this is how we would address this. We think, this additional information will help you, and this is how we proceed. So we'll have a chance to reply to it. But the site team is the one that identifies what the outcomes of the visit will be. And then it goes through a series of institutional action councils votes throughout the higher learning commission, and they're the ones that actually finalize what we end up having to do after the site teams. So we don't have a lot of control over that, except our discussions with the site team when they're on campus and asking questions.
The way I understand, a lot of times they don't know each other until they get to the hotel in Wichita together.
Yeah, very often.
If I'm understanding this right, each one of our departments, it's 5 different sections. They all write their own section. This is our goals. This is how we're going to accomplish it. And they fill in their own goals of how we accomplished it. And then HLC shows up, verifies that we accomplished what we said we're going to accomplish. It's not some form that they're bringing in and going through with a microscope for the entire college. We've prepared what our requirements are. And then we fill in what we've done to fulfill those requirements.
Yeah, they set the standards.
No, I understand it. They gave us the
their
blank
format.
sheet that we fill in. And then we do our,
Well, we have to write,
no, I understand. I'm not all,
and then provide the evidence, but they decide whether what we've written and the evidence that we've provided is accurate. If
Right,
they
I
don't
understand,
understand, they'll ask
but
more questions. If
I was
they-
gonna write-
if They think that
right,
we,
about my business, I would say, this is my business. Here's about my business. Here's what my business does. And you read it, so that's what your business does. Okay,
but they may decide that we aren't doing what we're telling them.
but we're telling, I don't know how we fill out a form that didn't fulfill what we said we were doing.
Well, what.
I know you guys can
they may-
argue about some teachers don't like the way that Shelby says stuff in meetings. Okay, but some taxpayers don't like the way that their money is being spent and their taxes tripled from 5 million to 15 million in 10 years. That's, I mean,
Well,
it's not only because a few teachers
Well,
don't
I
appreciate.
think we're
me
missing,
being
I think
here.
we're too trained.
No, I know, it's just.
Yeah, I think it's because I think what they do also too, if it's is that they're also looking to see if something isn't working, if a goal isn't working, that especially on an academic standpoint, that the goal changes to make the remedy to make it work. The goals are fluid and they're wanting to know that is the college keeping up with the fluidity of the student body, the fluidity of changes in students, the fluidity of how students learn, and the fluidity is if the courses are, from an academic standpoint, if the courses are meeting the needs to be transferred to an even higher institution. From our standpoint, it's the governance that we are the governing body of it. And it's just, are we moving the college forward to not only go 100 years, but 200 years,
They feel like there's even a portion, a sub-criterion that we are not meeting. That we, whatever that statement is that has been approved by the Higher Learning Commission, if we haven't provided evidence that identifies that we're meeting that criterion, they think that there are problems, they will note that and they'll tell us. So here's what your follow-up is. Here's what you have to do. Here's what we expect you to do to prove to us, a year from now or 2 years from now or whatever,
that you have made changes to meet this criteria. So they'll indicate that in their report if there are problem areas. And I think Brian gave you a whole range of what some of those things could be. Again, it's up to the site team. Our liaison will be involved in some of those conversations once that report gets formulated. But it's the Institutional Actions Council, the Higher Learning Commission that makes that final decision about, what, if we have to do anything. What we have to do. And, again, kind of depending upon the level, it can go anywhere from your follow-up monitoring report to monitoring report and another site team visit in 2 years. And we go off of open pathways back to the standard pathway model, and it's just gonna really depend on the site team. So I think, again, to Brian's comments, it's important for you collectively, I think, as a board to kind of coalesce around some ideas or, how you can work together in stronger ways as a board, because it's obvious from the meetings, it's obvious from the assurance argument that there are challenges. They're not secrets.
I understand,
At all.
but it's not the board's job, like before we got here, just to show up in a good old boys club that votes on everything they're given.
That's not the
It's,
expectation.
but that's not a requirement, but I wasn't gonna say. But we have, as a board, taken training. We've had 2 censure votes to follow our bylaws. We're working towards getting stuff done cohesively.
Yep.
We're all strong personalities that can agree to disagree. And we're not the type of personalities that will sit in silence and not say what we have to think, but at the end of the day, we're trying to push this college on the best direction possible. So I don't see,
So
I
I
mean,
think
if you
the
look at
things that you-
our, what we're doing, whether you like our style or not, that's our goal. I don't see that they can find that we're trying to hurt the college.
Well, they can. Again, that site team is the one that.
Well, then they'll have to
has that
justify it and we'll argue it.
Yeah, so we'll have to, if that's what they
And
decide.
court is a second step too. You don't, it's not handed down their words law. It can't be challenged in court.
Well, I think
Not
that,
in the court of law. It can be.
You
well,
can take
he
OJLC to
said you
court.
could, but I think what he'd also said is you pay for both sides of it and the likelihood. of
I understand.
success
I'm
is
just saying,
somewhere between.
just
two.
because you don't like personality, that's not enough to ding us.
I would like to stay out of courthrooms.
I think.
I just don't want to be pushed around the threat.
No offense
Because
to
you don't
the
like,
attorney.
because you don't like my, because you don't like my personality.
No, I think what we need to do is listen to the question and present information that's responsive to the question.
Right.
We don't have to throw ourselves on our swords.
We don't
They're
have
going to
go
give
down
us
the rabbit hole.
opportunities to be self-critical. I would expect there's going to be where do you think we can do better? That kind of general question seems likely to me, just because it's easy. But yeah, I think we can. It's not, I would love more consensus and compromise, but if 4-3 is where we end up, then 4-3, I mean, that's our democratic system. And I say that being predominantly on the side of 4, so I understand why those that are on the other side might not view that quite the same way.
But
But I don't know that we don't have to be ashamed of the fact that there were decisions that were decided 4-3. If we can find ways to get more,
Yeah, I'm
5,
just
2,
saying,
6, 1,
if
7,
they
0,
think
then-
that that's an issue, that's why I asked, if they view that as a negative light, then what's the solution to that? And that's where.
But even
I
to go-
like the idea, man, whether they view it as a negative light or not, I think that.
even to go back when we all got elected, because we've only been here 3.5 years and everyone else is gone. Robert's rules back then was fast and loose, and we're still learning. But it's like we've made great inroads in actual following procedural rules. Because before it's like, can't do that, can't do this. And it was just flying by the seat of your pants. That's how we've always done it. And we've been trying to learn and we're getting better. So
I just find it hard. I mean, it's a challenge when you're new, you don't know what you don't know. And it's a big institution with a lot of nuances. Yeah. Like I would love just a, basic tutorial on how the foundation works with the college and what that interaction is, who is, like, I have no clue how that works and why that's separate and what we are and what they are. And I think that matters. I mean, they're at our board meetings every day that we have these big dinners and make this big money. Well, how does that work? How does it get to the college? How do the students benefit from that or not? Like, I have no idea. And those are the things that I worry about, because if the HLC people ask me, and Ms. Brungart, how do you feel about bad, like, I don't even know. And I think that looks bad if as a board, you can't answer those questions. And I don't.
Course would be able to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
No,
but would
so you have
anybody else, am
somebody-
I just, am
You
I
have
the only
somebody in
one
your
that
group
feels,
could,
yeah, am I the only one that feels that way? That's, I fear not being fully
Do you-
able to.
Do you belong to cat backers?
I think
Uh,
that.
No.
Do you belong to cat backers?
I get enough money to K-State.
There's a lot of your buddies that do, and that money sure helps up there.
Right, but you see what I'm saying though, as far as
Yeah.
how.
Oh, no, I understand. Yeah.
In any of those groups, you're gonna find that there will be people that will kind of be directly involved in that discussion or understand the questions that they're asking, and some that won't. And so, and the site teams know that, in a group of 25 or 30 people in a room, the faculty, and they're asking specific questions about assessment. There may be some folks that really understand that whole process and can speak to it, and others that maybe aren't as confident in, speaking about it. So I think that's pretty typical. And they're gonna be, so. Again, we don't have a list of questions. We don't know what they're gonna ask. And they'll ask, lots of times they're gonna ask based on other site visits that they've been on. Or, and typically what will happen is that, on Tuesday, if they're busy with different groups on Monday, they may come back on Tuesday and say, we need some more information, or we need to go back and talk to so-and-so. Typically, it'll be, maybe they can go over to the financial aid office or the HR office. They're not gonna pull you guys back together as a group. But they'll do maybe more individual visits, in different offices on campus to get fair out of information.
I think what Forrest said, if we're succinct and avoid the rabbit holes.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, we're working for
Right.
the betterment of the college.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
And I
the
think-
answer-
we're learning as we go, some of this too.
And I think we were all very honest when Brian was here
I
about how
said that,
we were very honest about how things are working. And I think we need to stick with that and tell them about it.
Yeah, they're not, I mean, if we try to paint a picture that's rosier than it is, then I think our credibility
That's
gets
the worst thing.
damaged.
to do. And that's why when we write insurance, we have to. Institutions are in more trouble if they try, like you said, to just whitewash or, blow past things that are issues that the institution knows about. The site team figured it out real fast.
Yeah.
Look, this is not an attack. This is a genuine, honest question. Okay, I just want to know. Forrest has been very lucky. He's been very involved with the foundation a long time. You just talked about not knowing a lot about the foundation. My question is, I know that the foundation employees did not used to report to our college president. But I know they do now. They report first to Tom, and then they report to Kim. I'm wondering if that's gonna be a problem. And I'm not going to be able to answer that. So if anyone there asks me a question about the foundation, the only thing I can say is, well, it used to not be that way. It is now. You'll have to ask for us, because I don't know. why
I don't
is.
know that there's a criterion that's gonna deal with the college's relationship with the foundation, so I don't think
Well, I
those
do,
come up.
because we pay for them.
But no,
We don't write the foundation. I will tell you, Julie, that the foundation, the director or VP of the foundation, whoever that's been, has always reported to the college president since Jackie has been here. I don't know when Ronnie Fox was here before that, but certainly the 17 years that Jackie was here, that person in the foundation reported to the president, because that's one person, yes. And then the foundation staff report to that person. When Jackie, so Haley and Avery, those guys all report to Tom. They don't report to me. They report to Tom, and Tom reports to, and Tom does, yes, because part of his job is special assistant to the president. Because it's both an internal and. I agree that I agree, we're always going to disagree on whether or not that's a conflict. I don't understand why it is a conflict. I know you don't. Well, I don't know if I can ever explain it good enough for you to get, but.
Don't be condescending about it. No.
Because as you said, past, I come from a complete business background. And it's different from the school. You have told that to me millions of times. Well. I just know that in the past, it's not always been that way. That the foundation has not been under the college payroll completely like it is now. And
I would ask for clarification.
Yeah, why don't, maybe
Is
maybe it'd be worthwhile to have
Tom
some.
his wages are paid for by the college, right?
Some of the.
And then
rate-
some other employees also. I'm not clear on it, because we haven't ever been, exactly. But so he's paid for by,
I will.
he's on the Butler County Community College payroll,
Yes, I think most of his.
and
salary
then
is
some
paid.
other staff also.
There, I think there's one other person potentially that we pay salaries for in the foundation, but, and then the foundation pays the salaries of the other. But I literally, I'll have to get the split for you because I don't know what it is. Is it still on 7:30? Because we get that 7:30, what, 7:30? Department.
I think they're all on the college's payroll, but the foundation then reimburses the college for all or some of their salaries.
Like to see this summer, whenever. I would like to see the foundation people paid for by the foundation. Not on Butler County, because the way they treated us with the architect, the contracts, it was their way or the highway. And then now that they got it built and we got their money back, they were able to circumvent the control of the college. I mean, as a trustee, we're by law, we're supposed to decide architects, locations, blueprints, which we kind of did, but they went around it while being on the college payroll, which I don't appreciate. So I would like to see it just a true separation. Then we don't have to have conflict of interest or.
Why don't we table that discussion?
Right.
For a different time, but yeah. I mean, that's. Any other HLC stuff?
I'm just gonna say what he told us, know the mission statement. Technology, commitment to maintenance, process to evaluate trustees. Follow board policies, example grievances. And to pay attention to 1, 2, and 5.
Especially too.
Yeah, 2C, I think, was even more.
Yeah, 2 is.
Is more about the governance.
2C really focuses on.
That's April 17th. We think.
It's the 17th. I sent to her, I think 4 o'clock was when you guys decided it was best to meet.
I have 4:15 on the calendar.
I have
4, okay. Somewhere around there.
And we will be,
I haven't-
we will be reminded by you repeatedly.
I haven't heard back from her at all. She, they need to meet as a team. To start the process of review and all that sort of stuff. They put that schedule together as a team, but. That was one of the things that she wanted me for sure to get identified right away was when it was best to meet with you. So I'm assuming that they will map their schedule around Monday at 4:15 with you guys and it'll last an hour.
And
Less.
And it may not be in this room.
It won't be in this because this will be their home base.
Okay.
This will be locked off and this is their spot. And so I think, again, once we know time, probably you'll meet downstairs and the local level.
Let them know how to use the thermostat. They might just be mad because they're so cold.
Bring my
Peace
heater
out.
fan.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody.
Tour schedule that for construction. No, I don't know. I haven't heard from Donnie yet, but he's working on that. He has a very sick daughter, so he was on campus, so it was. Well, you check with him and make sure that. Yeah, but I'm not.
Thank you.
I didn't ask you to tonight. I just promised.